All right. Hey, everybody. It's Jason Blaha here, just sitting here drinking my morning coffee, looking sexy as usual. All right. Coffee could be a little stronger. I thought I made it strong. Seems a little weak. What do you guys think? All right. Doesn't, you can't use it as an engine degreaser. I don't know that it really counts as good coffee. Put this down. Something to put my cup on here. All right. See who we get in here this morning. This is my first cup of coffee, so I am not awake. So we will see how this goes, see who we get in here, what questions and topics and comments we've got. It's a little cold today. I'm not happy about that because I have to squat. I don't want to put that cold squat bar on my back, but we're going to do it. We're going to get in and do some heavy squatting today. Do some real heavy squatting. Eventually, I'm going to throw those sleeves on and see where we're at. All right, let's see where we're at with some sleeves. I also wish I could get my shoulder mobility to where I could do front squats again. That would be kind of nice. The main thing is I just can't get my elbows up, right? That's the hard part. It's like when I do front squats, I'm like this. I can't get my elbows up here for some reason. That hurt. That's like limiting my range of motion. So, I'd like to be able to do some front squats, especially on phases where I'm doing the high bar squat like I did last week. Kind of nice to get some front squats in after. It has really good carryover. Meddy says, hi, sir. What's going on, Meddy? How you doing? You guys don't ever click like. Meddy, I don't know why you guys don't click like and help brother out as soon as you comment, too. It actually gets more viewers in here, gets you in the algorithm. So I always tell people to do it. So like my stuff. Come on. You need to build your pecs, Meddy. Meddy, actually, you're not even clicking like. I'm not going to answer your questions anyway. You can't even give me the courtesy of a like. Why should I help you out? Still haven't done it. Okay. Man. I'm just going to ignore you then. I'm not asking a lot. I'm just asking people to click the like button when they ask questions. So I'm just going to chill. I'm not going to answer any questions till we get some likes. I'm just going to go tab to another screen. Till those like button goes up, I'm just going to pretend there's no questions at all. Just drink my coffee and talk about my squatting. The guys who were watching anyone chiming in later laughing, he still hasn't clicked the like button and wants me to answer his questions. That's amazing. Meddy, build your chest up. I can't help you with stuff like that if I don't know what your programming looks like, by the way. So if you want to hire me for a consultation, we can look at your bench press, we can look at your strength stuff, all those things. But otherwise, no, that's not the solution. Isn't just to go to dumbbells. The solution is to fix your bench press, figure out why you're not building your chest up, right? It's not like dumbbells are magical and that they're going to automatically build more pec than your flat bench. I'm not saying dumbbells can't be a great accessory for that. They can be. But here's the problem. If you're not building your chest on the flat bench because your technique is bad, what if you use the same bad technique? What if you're using the same bad technique on your dumbbells? The same problems. You see the issue? Like, it's not a solution. You need to figure out what you're doing wrong with your training. Plus, you're just throwing random stuff out there. I don't know how big, how strong you are. You know what I mean? You're asking arbitrary questions instead of saying, hey, this is what I lift. My incline is X. My flat bench is Y. I do these with a 1 count pause. So I weigh this amount. That sort of info, kind of useful. Otherwise, when a guy says that, I'm just going to assume they don't know how to train at all and they're a complete novice and they just need to stick to a novice program and get bigger. You know? So you can give me any back info. Right? You didn't give me any info here. So I really can't help you. Nothing I can do other than to tell you to fix your bench press. Train it better. Yeah. Sometimes that's all we can do. But yeah, this is a dead coffee chat this morning. I'm going to have to just go do something else while it fills up. See what else we got going on. Check out Facebook. Hold on. Someone else is hilarious on these Facebook fitness groups I'm in. Right. So the guy just wrote, because I had talking about dairy being a superfood. The dude's like, dairy causes inflammation. I'm like, that's been debunked. Dairy does not cause inflammation. Right? Dairy doesn't cause inflammation. This has been debunked in the lab. And he's like, trust me. I've done a whole process of food elimination and I know, and my doctor agrees. I'm like, I hate it when someone says something that's a provably scientifically false thing, like completely scientifically false information. And then they say, trust me. Like, no, I don't trust you. You clearly don't know what you're talking about. Right? Lars says, afternoon, coach, afternoon, Lars. What's your opinion on the Arnold press? I think the Arnold press is a pretty good exercise. I think it's a good belt exercise. I've used it in the past. Right? I mean, it's obviously front belt dominant, but it's a good exercise. Yeah. I don't know if I'd be able to do it that effectively these days, the way my shoulders move. Maybe if I keep doing the pullovers, that'll help. Is it hard on the rotator? The rotator cuff? Okay, so this is something that's a common mistake a lot of people make. Really common. So I'm not dogging on you at all, because I've had clients who do this and they're like, my rotator cuff hurts. I'm like, that's your anterior deltoid. You lift it, you bench heavy. All right. There isn't a rotator cuff. There's 4 completely different muscles. So the rotator cuffs are 4 different muscles, 2 of them in the front, 2 of them in the back of your shoulder. They're smaller muscles that run across. And they're not, what we're worried about with rotator cuffs, and this is what people don't understand, is it's having bad anatomy is hard on your rotator cuffs. Doing exact angles that pinches those rotator cuffs between bones due to your personal spacings. So let's say, for example, you have a really tight subacromial process, right? And so when that happens sometimes, unless you've learned to stretch it back out, certain movements might pinch your infraspinatus, which is one of the 4 rotator cuffs, and eventually can cut it. But they get frayed. They get little cuts and abrasions and inflammation. So that's usually what we're talking about. That's rotator cuffs. I mean, you don't want to be afraid of exercises that work them. Like your bench press and rows and stuff are going to work your rotator cuffs. They're hard on them because they build the muscle, right? These are little small muscles that get used, but you want them to build. That's so, the question is hard on it, meaning is it put stress on it? So that's like, is a dumbbell curl hard on the biceps? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's hard on the biceps. It helps them grow too. Coach, in your opinion, what's the best core specific? Are you talking abs or the whole core, meaning the lower back, everything? Right? But it's just abs. Sure, those should be enough. Weighted crunches, leg raises, planks. Yeah, I think you got everything covered. I mean, I don't think you even need all of those. They're all good. They're all good choices. Give me just a second, guys. I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back. All right. 95 does fitness groups for people spamming misinformation like dairy is inflammatory. They're looking for engagement. Well, no, they're arguing. So in that case, that person isn't looking for engagement. They're engaging me. So, I mean, it benefits me because my post is a cross post. Right. So all those written posts I do on Facebook get cross posted to multiple groups. But yeah, so in that case, but a lot of times they are doing that. Do you ever fast 7 days a week? Coach, I train 4 days upper and lower and do an extra day to work on accessory GPP. Is there any negative combining the accessories in GPP? Depends on if you want to lift 4 days a week or not. I mean, I train 5 days a week, so, it's up to you. If I fast every single day till pretty much noon, the good way to go about fasting is you don't eat until your set time. No, I do like a 6 to 7 hour feed window every afternoon. Sometimes 8. I don't take it all in my live streams. Jesus Christ. Next, why does your mama shake so much on my dick? Hey, Toodle, I need you to tell me, why does your mama shake so much on my dick? Say hello to your sexy ass mama for me. But back to some of those other questions. No, to go about fasting, I mean, there's a lot of ways you could do it, but I mean, I'm not going to break down a fasting protocol for you in a live stream. I'm not defensive at all. I think you're making silly stuff up. See, Toodle, me thinking that you're a clown is not me being defensive. It's me going, dude, you're just a silly jackass who's making weird stuff up. So I'm just going to respond to you in a very condescending, hilarious way. Why's your mama so defensive about this dick? Have you ever thought about getting a leg extension curl? They take up a lot of space, and those smaller machines really suck. So I'm already fighting. I am fighting for space. My normal day-to-day training, I have to move so much stuff around that there's things that I almost like, man, I'm not even using the sissy squat. I'm not using the preacher curl. I need to get rid of these things. That's almost how I feel sometimes, because I have to move just to get filming angles every workout, just to film for you guys and to do the vlogs. I have to move so much stuff every day that, to me, the idea of putting anything else in that gym is just like, my God, you need to pay me to do it. Like, because it's just extra work. It literally would just add to my workouts. I'm completely out of space. All right. Like, I literally have to rearrange mid-workout every single day just for the filming. And stuff is all stacked up, So I have to move stuff around. How much are your coaching services? I'm running them at 200 for a little longer. Then I'm going to go back to 250 once those slots fill up. All right, now I'm just going to ignore the silly stuff and move on. I have no idea. I have no idea why people even think I'm shaking, because I've never noticed it or seen it. Can one build up to working the heavy bag daily without losing muscle? Maybe. Maybe. Let's see. All right. Yeah, in theory. I mean, why shouldn't you be able to work up some type of conditioning or other work without losing muscle? Uh, so we're just going to ignore trolls and stick to real questions. Um, So we'll go back to the last real question, which was working the heavy bag. Yeah, you should be able to work the heavy bag. But I don't know. You should also consider asking a full-time boxing instructor on that. All right. Do you use creatine? If so, how much do you dose? 5 grams a day, standard amount. Right, 5 grams a day. I do it post-workout with my breakfast. I don't know what sort of response I'm going to get. Actually, I don't really know. I don't really have any expectations at all. Right, I have no expectations. But we'll probably do another one. Coming up. He couldn't get everyone in who needed to come on that time. Have you ever been to Alpha Lake Gym or Corrupted Strength in Houston? I've never heard of either gym. Hey, Coach, any advice to avoid binge eating episodes? Yeah, anytime you feel a binge coming on, force a bunch of protein down. It will fix it. Bland protein. All right. So that would be my advice, Thomas. So if you're a binge eater, you need to keep large amounts of very boring protein. How did you? Well, we started beefing because I realized the guy made 25 hours of videos about me, and that started the beef. That's the entire story, too. That's the whole thing. Some random guy with no followers started making hour-long hate videos about me, and I just ignored him until he got past 100,000 followers. And then I finally clapped back eventually. That's the whole beef. I had no idea who he was. I had no idea why he decided to do any of that. That's the entire backstory. But a guy with over 100,000 followers over the whole start of his channel from early on when he had like 3,000 just started making hate videos about me and built his channel off of it. So that's the whole story, dude. Unbelievably, what? If that's a reference to what I think it is, no, dude, that's was part of Nazi Germany's stuff. So it sounds like that's some sort of most likely neo-Nazi group or something. That doesn't seem like a good tribe to me. At what point do you recommend clients jump on TRTs when levels drop, when their doctor thinks they should? Okay. Currently watching you on Winston Churchill over in Misfits chat. Okay, cool. Is it up now? I think it went live already. Let me check. I know it was scheduled to go live sometime today. See if he sent me any other messages. I'm sure it did. Cool. Yeah, no, we had a good chat. We had a long intro going in before, so we talked quite a bit before we started recording. Lars, wait, what? Yeah, dude, I went on Winston Churchill's podcast on Wednesday night. It ended up going past an hour, the recording did. So, yeah. I'll probably link it after this. I'll probably kick it over to my thing. All right. I'll give him a tag and a share. So I'll put it over my community tab later if it's up on his channel already. Yeah, I thought, what the heck, might as well just do it, because it came up. So what happened there? They had Robert Frank on there, and Robert Frank mentioned me in a positive manner. Andrew had a little joking banter, but they didn't really say anything negative about me. And a bunch of fans told me I went and check it out, and like Robert Frank actually complimented me, so it's kind of funny. So I checked it out, and I left a funny comment. Like, all right, cool, carry on, guys. And there was some banter back and forth, and someone told him, it's like, Adam, you need to put Jason on. And he put in the thread, he goes, well, that's up to Jason if he wants to come on or not. So I reached over and messaged him on Instagram, and we had some back and forth. And I said, yeah, man, I mean, so I don't know much about what you guys do. I know only a tiny amount. I'm like, but yeah, what the heck, I'll come on. I said, if you can handle the trolling, I'm like, if you can handle the backlash of trolling, you're going to get like everyone who puts me on the podcast. Like, they're going to harass your children and your family, because that's what happens. So if people wonder why I get pulled off podcasts, literally my stalkers harass people's children and wives and stuff when they put me on the podcast. So they're family members to like punish them. And he's like, dude, they already do that to me. I have nothing to lose. They already harass my children's schools and stuff. So he's like, come on with it. I'm like, all right. So, yeah. Yeah, because basically, remember, my haters are evil people. They literally harass people's family members and things for associating with me. So they're essentially evil. Like, they're basically evil. Right? Because good people won't do that. Even decent, or only slightly bad people won't do that. They're evil. So what ended up happening, we scheduled it. He couldn't get the other guys in that day, though. We scheduled it like a week ahead of time. It said to get them in for the next one. We tried. And so then we had about a 30-minute chat before we started of kind of what we'd cover and wouldn't cover. And so then, yeah. And I thought it was interesting because what's interesting is that he's dealt with the sort of stuff I've dealt with as far as crazy stalkers and stuff. So he's dealt with a lot of the stuff. So that was interesting to me to actually have another person, a conversation with Adam, because he's dealt with these same things from the internet. And so that was really interesting to actually talk to other people who've had to undergo this sort of stuff. So we had some good banter. And yeah, so we had fun with it. We agreed we'll probably do it again. I'd definitely get more people in next time. So yeah, but it should be up today. So I guess people are watching it. Yeah, Adam McCook, pretty much. Yeah, he and I talked for like 70 minutes straight recorded. Jason, interesting that you changed your chest work this week. I've been focusing on incline all of 2024 and just started to have a touch of pain. Switched to flat as a primary this week and all good. Yeah, and I love incline for aesthetics, but we don't have to have incline. So it's kind of one of those things where I remind people there's a lot of exercises that I think are phenomenal exercises, but we don't have to have them for complete development. And I feel like at this point, me not building just more overall chest, maybe holding my own bench back, that wider bench. So I do feel like working in that floor press, because I can touch my chest on a floor press if I arch it all. The only reason I'm an inch from it is because I'm pretty much flat back. And it's, again, my thickness, like my back thickness front to back, right? So we're pretty thick. So yeah. So I'm going to do a lot more floor pressing is a really serious endeavor again, because I got a lot out of it in the past. I've hit a 350 floor press before. So I want to hammer that and then work on a lot of JM presses again to build up the triceps specifically to the bench, because I want to get that 375 bench this year while getting leaner still. So I want to be leaner and tighter than I am now, but I want a 550 squat and a 375 bench. I'm going to try to do it on just TRT. I want to stay off of anything serious this year and just run a replacement dose. People ask me on that too. I'm like, I just want to make sure my health is good. I'm 48, guys. So I feel like at this point, my training is dialed in enough that I can still make some gains even on just a replacement. I'm hoping. Let me rephrase it. No, I know I'm going to. Gotta be confident. What's your opinion on 3, 4? So I don't know what that is. Why do you need to cut anything to cut? Your diet should cut you. Cutting drugs of any type are what you do your last month before you step on a bodybuilding stage. When did you realize a 700 squat? When I woke up drowning. When I was 245 pounds, and when I woke up, I was like, this is what I sound like waking up in the morning. I could hear myself gasping for air, literally drowning from the sleep apnea, like thinking I am dying 2 or 3 mornings in a row. That's when I realized a 700 squat was not going to happen. Had I continued down that trend, I could very well have Rich Piana on you guys. So I trimmed down. And I realized, let's just forget this goal. Let's focus on body composition and stuff. And I still need to get leaner, right? I'm still going to get definitely leaner than I am now. But yeah, I can't be walking around at 240, 250. Dude, I'm too old for that. Like that's a death sentence. It's a death sentence. I've been doing overhead press full range of motion down to upper chest. So I think you did that primary incline work to a touch of overuse. Yeah, that definitely can. Start getting some shoulder overuse. You need to back some of that down a little bit, and it's time to work the other angles. But that's okay. Now just build your health back up. That's what I'm doing. But the beauty of it is I've cut incline out before and went right back to progressing on incline immediately. All right. I cut it out for quite a while, brought it back in, and ended up hitting that 225 for 10. Pause, which was kind of one of my goals, but it didn't increase my bench. That was the interesting thing. I noticed before the incline up to a certain point improved my bench. But then I hit these incline PRs and my bench is still a hair weaker than when I hit those bench PRs. So I'm like, it's not giving me the carryover that I want anymore, because I feel like it's not addressing my weak links, right? It's not addressing my weak links. It feels like my front delts and even my upper chest may not be the limit on my bench. I think it's coming down to my chest, my full chest down here, and the lateral head of my tricep need to just come up. The only way that bench is going up. Only way I'm getting to 375 plus is to build those muscles. They just have to get bigger. I think especially as I've gotten leaner, especially as I've gotten leaner. And I may throw the belt and wrist straps back on. I've done a full, completely raw phase for a little bit, no wrist straps. I've hit 4 reps, I think, with no wrist straps on 315. So I want to start messing a little bit with optimizing some of that again. All right. So maybe for the floor press and the flat bench, I'll wear belt and wrist straps again. And then the other stuff we'll just do raw. Just like I'm belting up for the squats and deadlifts right now. Yeah. But again, rotate through these things, rotate through your different movements. I mean, that's kind of the heart of even the whole conjugate type method. Part of me is considered straight up going back over to rotating max effort lifts on my squat and deadlift days. Because I've noticed that happens with me on the deadlift. I get stagnant or anything, and then I can't handle deadlifts, because just the week before I got at 550 before on the deadlift, but I guess fatigue was high and I missed a 585. Come on, guys. I mean, mathematically, that's almost impossible. Like if I can do 2 reps with 550, I should pull 585. And the week before I did 4 reps with it, like clean reps. So there's a point where I need to address certain things to keep everything moving. So I think like this coming week deadlift, I'm probably going to do deficit deadlifts this coming week. All right. I might even eventually work a little sumo back in off and on. Again, just building these different angles up. And the idea with a lot of this is rotating the movement patterns, builds everything up, and it cuts overuse. And that's a big deal. That's why I like to rotate squats. Because I used to get some hip pain from squatting, right? Now that I've been rotating stuff around, rotate the different bars, did one box, went to back squat. I've done, then here's the thing. I'm not getting any hip inflammation or other stuff because I'm avoiding the overuse. I think that's the key, especially when I go to power squatting, right? Those wider stance power squats eventually inflame my hips a little bit. When I start getting well up into the 500s, I start getting inflammation. So I want to avoid all that. And that's where rotating the movements a little bit helps. And guys who are weaker don't understand that. Like you hear younger guys who are like, oh, that's nonsense. I'm like, dude, you're 28 and you squat 400 pounds. You don't know. Like you're clueless. You have no idea. Put 550 or 600 on your back in your 40s and come back and talk. So the thing is, we do have to avoid the overuse stuff, Matt. And it's the same thing with that. I mean, sometimes when you just beat those same, especially movement patterns that are a little hard on joints, I love the incline bench, but it can be hard on your shoulders. And so, again, I want to make sure my shoulders are healthy. And that's the thing I'm also been thinking about. Let's quit doing anything that inflames my shoulders and just keep doing pullovers and hangs and see if that shoulder starts to open up more for me. Because if I can get that shoulder to open up more, I'd love to be able to do an overhead press again correctly. I'd love to be able to do some front squats. I'd love to be able to do some cleans and snatches a little bit. Even though 90% of my training is going to be bodybuilder related, I do like being able to do some of those movements. And I've lost certain ranges of motion, and I'd like to build that back up. All right. Are long femurs predisposed to weaker on lower body lifts like back? Well, not necessarily weaker, you just have different levers. I've seen long femur guys with monstrous squats. Your technique is going to be more limited. The shorter the femur is, the more diverse of squat styles you can use. The longer the femurs, the more you get locked into needing somewhat wide stances, needing low bar technique, right? Sometimes you start needing those things. I'm a late novice. Should I run Steve Reeves' program as an intermediate? I'm looking for that silver air look. You don't necessarily need Steve Reeves' program. You can, here's what I'm going to recommend. You're right. If you're looking for that silver air type of look, don't get too shredded for one. You don't need his full body type program. What you need to do is focus a lot on wide delts and do a lot of pullovers. Okay. Focus on your delts, right? Focus on your delts and do a lot of pullovers to open a lot of things up. That will help you kind of get that silver air aesthetics. How many steps a day? I don't know. I don't measure it. Whatever I've been getting on the camera, plus shopping and other stuff. Keep in mind, my steps are different because I'm wearing a 50-pound vest for my steps. I'm not just walking. One thing I love about what Michael Hurd preaches is range of motion at different angles, keep the body mobile. I think he is right. So that's why for me, I think this next week, I'm going to go lighter again on like my upright rows. I wanted to do some snatch grip high pulls this week, but I want to take them down lighter and see if I can focus on getting them higher, right? Even if I got to go down to a weight that people will make fun of, who cares? As long as I can get that higher stuff, get those shoulders moving again. All right. Because, I mean, who cared? As long as I'm heavy on my important lifts, as long as my squat, bench, deadlift are heavy AF. All right. Hey, Spazzy, you're really going to take advantage now of the fact I'm trying not to ban people, aren't you? All right. So I'm just going to ignore you from now on. We're not going to answer any of your questions until you can behave for a week. All right. But yeah, no, I mean, Mike is right. It's a reason I like to rotate squat styles and stuff too. Different ranges of motion involved, you know. But I'm not gonna lie, man. Those high bar squats from last week left me sore for 4 days. My lower quads and my patellar tendons were lit up for 4 days after that. I'm like, really, guys? It was only 465 on the bar, and even the back down. But I also did immediately the other quad work after. All right. Is natural hypertrophy a fraud? What stuff is? Of course, he's a fraud. He's a fraud in every way. Right? It's one thing to say someone lies, another thing is to be a fraud. He is literally a fraud. Built his whole reputation slandering me. Doesn't do anything, can't lift anything, isn't that big, and yet, again, just trying to coach people now, give fitness advice based on anime and Nietzschean philosophy. Now he's lying about having a wife. It's like, come on, dude. I mean, keep in mind, all right, let's talk about fraud. The guy literally said he needed people to donate thousands of dollars a month because of his wife and child. I don't even think he has a wife and child. So I think that qualifies as fraud. If it turns out he is not supporting a wife and child and he told people he needed thousands of dollars for it and they are giving it to him, that qualifies as fraud. As a legal definition, that's called fraud. Right? Doesn't mean he's a liar. It means he is committing fraud. Money under false pretenses. And I don't think we could define that any other way. Like, if it turns out he really is not married, he has committed fraud with his audience and followers because he's cleaned tens of thousands of dollars out of them to support his family under the threat of, I won't be able to do as many videos unless you guys donate all this money to me because I have to work to support my family. Ooh, see where we're going with that? That's pretty high level fraud if it turns out he really isn't married. I suspect he's not. Hey, Spazzy, we're ignoring you, and no, I didn't commit any fraud. It would be hard for people to disprove his marriage. Well, if we knew his legal name. If people find out who he really is, it would be really easy. Alex associates with anyone who will accept him. Alex needs father figures. Have you noticed that? Keep in mind, Alex grew up without a father. Single mother raised him, and he craves father figures. That's why he went after me. It's almost a mentor he looked up to and was in my comments every day. Stole stuff from me for his book. He did it with Bugenhagen and so on and so forth. Right. In his last live, a lot of comments were calling him out about his fake wife. He kept ignoring them. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Of course, he's going to ignore them. Again, if it turns out and people find out who he is and it turns out he wasn't married, come on, he's done. Let's see. Okay. I'm trying not to ban people, but there are certain things I'm going to have to get rid of. That one has to go. Sorry, Spazzy. Not even sorry. You got to go, dude. All right. how he blurs out his wife. I'm trying not to ban, but there has to be limits. Is Alex Strap-on Destiny? Yes, Alex Leonidas is Strap, who is now telling people they need to use straps for heavy curls. He's going to tear some people. Then what? That's game over. It's like, Alex, your arms are one of your selling points, dude. Once you rip one of those biceps, you have this problem. It's going to be getting your career's done, dude. You're over. So you might want to see here. Someone will link in this. Alex, you might want to rethink this stupidity. I mean, the strapped up above your rack pulls was already stupidity that hurt people, bent probably 500 bars in gyms, ruined good bars. Now you're going to tell people to strap up for heavy curls. See where we're going with this, dude. Right? See where we're going. And I get it. Cheat curls have their place. Cheat curls can be amazing. Cheat curls can be an amazing exercise. But when you're strapping for them, now we've lost that one extra inhibition in there that will help keep you from tearing it. People are going to start tearing biceps with his advice. He's going to tear his own bicep because he doesn't have sense with it. He doesn't have the intellectual capacity to know when we're getting into danger, right? Do you think natural? No, I think he uses gear. I think he uses blast sweat gear. Hey, Jason, should we worry about oxalates? No reasonable person thinks you should worry about oxalates. So the response to the whole oxalates topic, what has Baylor College of Medicine's nutrition department said to all these clients discussing oxalates? So if you know nutrition and you've researched this topic, you know what the leading experts have given as responses to the people writing books, right? This is everyone who looks at nutrition knows this already. So if you've studied this topic, then you've studied the official responses by the researchers and experts, right? Because they've responded to all this silly conspiracy books. They respond to this stuff publicly. So Baylor College of Medicine has broken down the solution: drink water. All these problems go away if you drink a little more water. If you have a problem with oxalates due to spinach or whatever, add an extra couple glasses of water and every day, and it'll resolve the problem. Quit dehydrating yourself, and then you can go back to eating raw spinach. This is what the leading experts tell you. Stop dehydrating yourself. Yes, they're lying for money, dude. They create these fad things, and it's for financial gain to sell diet books. Right? It's not like this isn't known. All these doctors have done this for generations. I mean, it's not like these same people who are writing these books now weren't doing it before. I remember NH Clayton, a woman came up to him with the, oh my God. And asked, well, it might have happened, Josh. I mean, it's possible. I've been in those sort of situations. I mean, it's very well possible. But I don't think he's married. Do I think that's a reasonable response, though? I mean, if you're a married dude, I would actually agree with that response. As a married man, you kind of have an obligation to not cheat. I think most of us agree. I think decent human beings agree you shouldn't be cheating. And as men, we're not prepared to deal with that level of temptation. All right? 400 books is good, but no one uses books anymore. I mean, it probably is, but assuming it's not, like that response, though, is actually what I would advise guys to do, honestly. I would give that advice personally. Just get out of there, physically remove yourself from the situation. Because everyone went to Dot's pancake. I don't know. You're going to have to research the politics and the detailed analysis and discussion of why these federations decided these other formulas work better. That's a complicated matter. And I'm not willing to sit down and break down math regarding a more accurate representation of relative strength class to class. Long story short, some people felt like Wilk's score was still too biased towards the really lightweight classes and really short guys. So they adjusted to a slightly different formula that gives them slightly less bias. Right? So pretty much why people went to dots. It's my understanding, the Cliff Notes. But as far as the doses MH uses, I don't know. I don't know his exact doses. It could be, I've seen guys who get bad results on really high doses. So we don't know he's not using a gram. But he's at least on a moderate amount of wet stuff. He likes boofy drugs though. Like he likes stuff that makes you go water. And notice again how extra oily his skin is. He's really greasy and dirty person. But it's probably being exacerbated by the sebaceous gland. So he does like higher androgenic profile stuff. No, I don't think he's betting. I don't think he knows how to train that well though either. All right. Usually when people say things that were, I think this person's natty or not, y'all have clearly never been in a gym. Y'all only train at home and look at Instagram and train at home and have never left your house. That's usually my thought. Because I've seen way too many guys smaller and weaker than him who use lots of gear. It's really, 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 really common, actually. The average gear user barely looks like they lift for the unaware. Surveys have shown this. My experience 25 plus years in the gym has shown this. All right. Yeah, I used to be on MySpace. So do you think pre-workouts are the biggest scam in this fitness? No, they're up there, but they're not the biggest. I mean, you at least get high from them. You get a buzz. They don't improve any of your gains or results. That's been found in studies. Even the strong ones that got banned, they don't actually give you better results, even though you felt like you got a better workout. It doesn't translate into more muscle or strength at all. But you get a buzz from them. So they're not a complete scam. BCAAs literally did nothing. They don't get you high. They don't give you a buzz, nothing. So that's a bigger scam. I think test boosters and BCAAs are up there. Pre-workouts are a little further down. In terms of our part of the fitness, now we can get into the whole healthosphere, and there's tons of stuff. Like small trainer, I don't know what. Thoughts on basement bodybuilding student? No, he got a 1,500 total in big three. It barely contributed. Yeah, that's nonsense. But his lifts weren't legit. He didn't have a 1,500 real total. He was doing, again, I called him on some of that. Like those lifts didn't really count. The ones that I saw. They wouldn't pass in competitions and like sumo and counting it as real. And come on. I know sumo would count, but his lifts wouldn't pass in a powerlifting meet. Thoughts on Joffrey Schoenfeld? Do we need to discuss Joffrey again? I've already had back and forth with him in banter. I've already done the videos on him this year, so I don't feel like we need to discuss thoughts on him. He's a fake natty clown who likes to pin his shoulders and use a lot of Photoshop. He needs to rotate and quit shooting his belts all the time, though. In my opinion, he should go back to glutes because he does all his injections in his belts, it looks like. Like you can't pretend to be natty when you can clearly see where you shoot your gear. Like it doesn't work that way, dude. Every lifter is looking at your shoulders going, damn, dude, maybe you should rotate your injection sites more often. It's like what all of us are thinking, all the serious guys who've been doing this a long time. It's like, bro, maybe switch to your glutes or something every now and then. Quit shooting your delts every single week. Because it's like, it's getting blaringly obvious. That's where you pin everything. You could see it. All right. They didn't claim Natty. That's hilarious. All right. We're 50 minutes in, though. I think we're about to wind this down. It's my understanding he lives in China. Yeah. So I hope it's been informative. I love all of you guys and gals, and I will talk to you next time.